So today we're going to be making bowls, and the main tool that we're going to need to do that are ribs. I have a few here. Flexible metal one, very popular, I like it. These flexible rubber ones are quite nice, and then you have the wooden inflexible ribs in various curves. Okay, so here's a couple like that. You can see lots of different ribs at Clay Art Center. And just take your wallet and you'll be all set. So today I'm going to be using this metal rib. And I like them. I use them all the time, and if you can believe it, every once in a while I have to get a new one because I've worn that shape down flat, and then it won't work for what we're trying to do today, which is make a curve on the inside of our bowl. Okay, so here we go. Again, we're going to center this clay. We're going to be pushing towards the center. My elbow is braced when I do that. With the other hand, I pull back towards my bracing arm. I'm just pulling one hand off so you can see what I'm doing there. This is called coning, and it just lets me know if the clay is smooth. Make sure there's no hard lumps in there. Okay, so we're going to open it up. I like to use 2 fingers right in the middle, and I'm going down. I don't go too far because we're going to need enough clay in the base to trim our foot. Okay, and how do we know how far we've gone? There's only really one way. Take your needle tool. Okay, give it the old stab treatment. And so my foot is about yay thick. That's more than adequate. You'll lose a little thickness when you rib it. Okay, so now I've opened it up and it's flattened out. I want to pull that just up a little bit. It's called collaring in. Okay. Whenever we throw, we like to keep our cylinders more or less pyramidal. The wheel will throw open forms a little off their center if you're not careful. And we've got, my middle finger is on the inside and my index finger on the outside. I'm just raising them up. I'm keeping them about the same width apart. And that's forcing the clay up. In this case, up and out. Okay. So, got a little more clay down here. The base. I'm going down to pull that up, get that incorporated into the walls of our bowl. Okay. Then I'm going to use this rib, and I'm going to start at the top and let it ride down the inside of that bowl. I'm taking off those throwing rings, and I'm smoothing out the surface of this bowl. I want it to be a parabola shaped contour when I'm done. And sometimes when you're doing this, you're going to see an air bubble has opened up. And my apprentice didn't do a very good job here. So just give it the stab treatment if you find that happening. Okay. And so now I'm pushing the bowl out with just the rib. I'm not taking any clay off it. I'm just changing its shape to be more open. I'm looking for an open, more or less soup bowl. When I got that opened up the way I want, I'm going to take my rib and I'm going to lay it on the rim, and I've got my finger underneath just to make sure it doesn't flop. I'm just flattening that rim out, okay? And then I'm going to go on the inside of this curve. And what we're going to want is a curve that is more or less like this one, okay? Now I'm going to do something to this to show you what I don't want your bowls to look like. And if they do, I'm going to ask you to fix it. This is called a beginner's hump. And you may have a little groove, or it's an area where the base is flat and then the rims start. Use your curve of your ribs to smooth that out and get a nice shape, okay? Then I'm going to flip this baby over and put a foot on it. Putting a foot on it will help the pot sit nicely and fire properly in the kiln. Good clean foot will keep your kitchen table from being all scratched up. And it will make a nice handle for when you got to glaze this baby. If you don't got this handle, it's going to be a lot harder. It can be done, but just saying, harder. Okay, so again, this stage, we have to center it again, right? So in the center, there's an axis going straight up, and you just orient yourself right to it, and you push this towards that center, and you're done, okay? Couple of attempts while your board should train you to that magical skill of recentering. And voila, we have ourselves tacked down. That's nice. And now we're going to want to trim the foot. I usually start on the outside and sort of establish where I want the outside of the curve of the foot to be. Okay, and in this case, we're making a broad soup bowl, so wider is better here. If it's too wide, it's going to look dumpy. If it's too narrow, it's going to be not safe to sit full of liquid. So, okay. So now I'm going to remove clay from the inside here. I'm going to make just a mark. And this is just for your benefit. This is where the foot is going to be. I'm going to take out this clay here on the inside. I try not to take all of it out in one go because the risk is great that you'll go right through the bottom. So, how do I tell how thin it is? Sometimes you can just sort of feel, and you can feel it start to give a little. Sometimes you can tell by the sound it makes. This is thicker than that. Okay, so I'm in pretty good shape here. I'm gonna just take off the edges of that, and I want to cut this just a little. I like to make a little groove on the above my foot. If my glazing is a little too exuberant, this little groove is going to catch any glaze runs before they ruin my pot. Okay, a lot of the glazes we use look great thick, but too thick bad. So here we go, we'll see what we got. Oh, and make sure you sign them. Okay. After you're done trimming, I would just take your finger and run it right along that edge. And that just dulls it up just a little. Okay. And voila, super. Okay. Make me 4. And by that I mean, make as many as you can. Save me 4 your best. But in this case, you should probably save me 1 extra because something bad will happen to one of them. You can count on that. So make me 5. Give me 4. All right. See you next time.